Hello and welcome to this class recording for a class I'm calling Embracing Change. It's been a big subject these days, and so I wanted to share a few perspectives and helpful practices that can really help you to do just that, and that is to embrace the change rather than what we can normally do, which is often resist or tense up or collapse in the face of change. So um, sharing this presentation today, and I just encourage you to follow along and to really start right now becoming present. Hopefully, you're in a place where you feel at ease, where you can drop in a little bit deeper, and maybe it can be quiet or you can have nice music playing. Um, any elements that you can bring around you right now that help you feel safe, calm, comfortable, or supported. I just really encourage you to do that. And if you already have that comfortable space designed, I'm going to invite you just to take a few deep breaths. Maybe you've been running around today and you want to pause and take a sip of water. And the time that we have today for this presentation is really about being present. And it is truly a gift that you give yourself when you become present. And just to prepare your mind a little bit more, I also invite you to have something to write with or to take notes if that is inspiring to you right now. I'm going to give you some perspectives and things for the mind, but also then some practices and spaces to be with the body. I've found in 20 years of working with clients and healing in transformational ways that really getting into the body can be difficult when the mind wants to know. So we'll give the mind a little candy in that way and let it know what we're talking about. And then we'll sprinkle in some body practices. And I do want to mention the word that we're going to be using for those practices, which is somatic. And the word soma refers to the body, to the container of the body. And in somatic psychotherapy, they're looking at really how is our mental and emotional experience expressed through our body. So we're going to take a little time to get curious about what that feels like for you in regard to embracing change. So starting with that mind candy here a little bit, neuroscience is studying these things, of course, and how we can adapt better in a changing world. So some of the things that we can consider is really to drop in for yourself without the opinions or the guidance of other people, but just to tune in for yourself. Why would change be necessary if you're approaching it consciously? Or what meaning can you make from the changes that are going on if they're not as conscious? We want to be careful what meaning we're making things have. So we want to break things down into smaller chunks. There's a wonderful book that goes into this method more deeply that I highly recommend called The Gap and Gain Method. But we want to look at any parts of the change that we can manage in little bites, so to speak, right? So what can I do today? What can I do in the next 5 minutes, maybe? What can I do within the next 2 hours? Just to give us a sense of completion within the soma, within the neurobiology that we have. So similar to the number two, using that gap and gain method to measure our performance based on ourselves. So I'm measuring my progress based on my past experience or based on my past goals, not necessarily based on what might be appropriate for you. So we want to pull it back and say, okay, self is self. What am I experiencing? How can I support myself right now? What would feel the most congruent with what I'm actually experiencing? Paying attention. So sometimes going unconscious is actually a defense mechanism. So we want to overcome those defenses where we just react to life instead of responding by really becoming aware. And it sounds a lot easier than it really is in the moment, but I find for a lot of us, it's slowing down that helps to do that. So giving yourself permission to have time without a list, or conscious time to pay attention, which we will do today, and see what that does, see how that feels in your body. Celebrating victories. And this fast-paced world of work, I don't know that we're always celebrating, or maybe sometimes it's going out of balance, celebrating too much. But especially in regard to changes or making changes or having goals, we want to be in kind of a microclimate with ourselves there. Like, hey, good job. Wow, you figured out Zoom today, or you did, this thing that felt impossible. You cleaned that closet, or you got that thing taken care of that's been on your plate that's been kind of stressful. Finding alternative ways to reduce stress. So it's pretty obvious and yet sometimes baffling when we're in the middle of it. When we're not feeling well, we usually do things that make us feel worse. So if we can find what might be in the category of positive things, meaning things that bring us into present time, those can really, really help to reduce stress. And it might be some different things than you think. So we'll keep getting into that. We definitely, many of us build up more tension if we don't do something with it. Yeah, so maybe so far you're having some thoughts, or you want to take a few notes on what your mind is focused on right now in regard to change and those things that our neurobiology is talking about. But as you can see here from this slide, change is taking us in a lot of directions. So it might affect you more physically or mentally or emotionally. But what I want to know today for you, for yourself, is to encourage you right now to maybe close your eyes, feeling your body sitting, feeling the presence of your skeleton, your bones supporting you. And I'm going to ask you to notice, what does your body feel like in response to change? Do you notice a sensation when you hear the word change, or when you think about changes that you've experienced in your life? You might want to maybe not just keep noticing, or jot that down. Sometimes it will have other components to it. It won't just be a feeling. It might be an image, a color, a sound, have more characteristics than we can even really name, just for you to know that for yourself. To consider if that feeling is different, if you know that it's a change, or it's a conscious change that you're making, or if it's something that happens that you had no control over. How does that feel in your body? And we're just lightly touching on these things. Please start to slow down if you're noticing any sense of overwhelm, or if anything is feeling like too much. We just want to lightly understand that these things that we're experiencing in life are happening in our body, and they can be tracked and they can be supported, and we can find relief by doing so. Noticing where in your body. And then this is another one. This is from Aroma Freedom Technique, and this is more of something. And if you have essential oils with you right now that you would like to smell, considering, have you felt that way before? If this sensation is not new, or you've been through a lot of change in your body, maybe consider having that therapeutic fragrance, that aromatherapy with you. Something like citrus, vanilla, lavender, release, stress away, those kind of blends that can help you breathe into those places you felt that way before. And then I want you to just notice what comes up there. Noticing the power of aromatherapy to support us in feeling calm while we look at maybe overwhelming thoughts or experiences. We can use aromatherapy to help calm the brain. So just taking a few more breaths here, noticing those sensations in your body. If anything comes to mind about this being a thematic experience for you, something that needs help more often or more attention. And taking a moment to note that, or if you need more time, you can pause the recording. Okay, so if your eyes have been closed, we're going to have you open your eyes and just watching this image, lotus flowers blooming. Lotus do not have roots in earth. They are rooted in water. And I find that brings a particular sensation in my nervous system. So I'd like you to consider the lower part of your body as you observe this slide. And then again, maybe letting the eyes close at this point. I'm going to read you this quote. This is from Pema Chodron. She's a very skilled teacher on the nature of change and has written books, for instance, like this one, which is taken from a book called When Things Fall Apart. So when we're facing change, if we're willing to give up hope that insecurity and pain can be exterminated, then we have the courage to relax with the groundlessness of our situation. So depending on your perspective and where you're coming from, hearing this quote, this might seem kind of extreme. And I'd like you to stay curious. Stay with me. The thing that we're considering here today and is really part of this class is how can we be with pain? Change and pain are almost the same for some people. Going through changes is not always easy. So what if that's not what we were trying to get rid of? What if we were just trying to develop a new relationship with, when I'm in pain, what do I reach for? It's a pretty big one. There's a lot of things we could choose. So one of the things could be this peace protocol. I really appreciate this sensory motor psychotherapy offering. And there's this lovely handout that kind of takes you through it. You can see there also their website if you want to follow along or get more information from them directly. So this is called a resource protocol. How interesting. This idea that when our nervous system is overwhelmed by change, we are out of resources. We cannot resource because we're not having access to the source of balance and congruence or connection. It's actually not necessarily about finding calm. This is such a wonderful piece of somatic psychotherapy and this kind of work, is that we're not necessarily looking for calm. We're looking for connection. And when you have an experience that is overwhelming, traumatic, big T or little t trauma, anything that's too much too fast or too little too long, we're going to be able to find gaps in that resource method. That person is not actually able to put those pieces together to then fully recover from that experience. So it's a matter of connection, connectivity, connecting the dots in order to then file that experience and put it in a place where we can at least hold space for it instead of leaving it unprocessed and governing how we act, feel, and relate to ourselves and others. So it's a pretty big deal. And again, a simple concept, but not necessarily always so easy to do because of how the mind gets involved. So I want you to also notice as we start this protocol, what kinds of things your mind wants to tell you about doing this kind of work. And sometimes there's a big distraction. There's a lot of confusion coming in or wanting to interrupt you, and that's okay. We have room for all of it. So if this is very new to you, I want you to just kind of stay curious and keep your heart open. It's very gentle, but if you do feel at any time overwhelmed, please stop the practice and just observe, sit back in your chair, find a comfortable position. And I'm going to talk you through this, so you do not have to have your eyes open. You can have them closed if that feels more comfortable, or you feel more able to connect inside of yourself with what you're feeling. So the first part of the protocol is to pause. I want you to pause and start to notice your physical body, the position that your body is in, what your limbs and the other body parts feel like. Any part of you that feels tight, weak, numb, shaky. Maybe you notice your breath or your heartbeat. Pause to notice any signals of unrest. And then the E is to embody a somatic resource that feels supportive in this moment. So I will read you some and encourage you to do them as I read them. Orient. Allow yourself to open the eyes if they're closed and to look around, to notice your environment, name colors that you see. Try lengthening your spine, sitting up tall, or adjusting your spine in any way that feels a little bit more comfortable. Start to bring your breath through your nostrils toward your belly. Allow the hands to be placed somewhere on the torso, near the heart, the belly, maybe a gentle hug. Smile in a way that feels right to you. Sometimes being more active is an effective somatic resource, and that includes standing, pushing your palms into each other, into a wall, into an object, pushing your feet into the floor or the support underneath you, making a stop gesture with your palms. Starting to hum at a low pitch, kind of like if you've ever been to a yoga class and they do an om, or just a hum. Those low pitched humming sounds, you can follow that vibration literally down through the vagus nerve in toward your belly. Allowing yourself to move if that feels good, rock, sway, bounce, swing, or walk slowly. Noticing as you walk, your legs moving. Consider your culture, especially if it's been a big part of you, whether it's been present or lost. Letting that in. Invite your ancestors as a source, as a resource, a place to go when things are feeling depleted. So hopefully one of these resources is feeling good to you and you're finding that connection with your own resources. So I encourage you to keep playing with these. You might have different resources that feel good at different times. And right now, find one of them that you can concentrate your attention on for about 15 seconds. If it feels really good, you can do it for longer. But we want to take a moment to notice the benefit of that resource. Breathing a little deeper into the space often that is opening, the breath that is opening, these other aspects of you that are opening. Reconnect. Concentrating on the positive effects. Good. 2 more deep breaths. Really let that positive effect start to expand now if you can. Maybe it's capable to reach all the way out to your limbs, your head, front and back body. So you can focus on the positive effects of something. It can help to rewire your brain, your nervous system. So we really want to start inviting this felt sense of relief, not just theoretical. I'm talking about relief. I go to yoga and I'm super stressed. I do this, I do all these good things, but I'm super stressed. There's this disconnect that a lot of people have these days where we actually have to engage ourselves. And to do that in a safe way, I find this protocol really helps. So just letting that the effects come through you, or trying it again when you have space to yourself. Keep practicing and exploring what works for you. It's a really huge gift you can give yourself. So we're coming out, re-engaging now with your environment, inviting you to open your eyes. And as you open your eyes, I want you to focus on things that really are delightful. If you can find something that you enjoy looking at. Oh my goodness, that is so beautiful. I really enjoy that. Whatever it is in your space. Coming out with a sense of calm and connection. That peace protocol is there for you anytime. So stress generally refers to two things: this psychological perception of pressure, and then our body's response to it. How interesting. We have the brain involved in our stress, of course, and in change. And I wanted to particularly bring up the parietal lobes. This class is intended to kind of bridge spring and summer here. So we have this very profound relationship with change occurring in the literal hemispheres of our brain. And one of the main things that those parts of our brain do is to receive and process sensory information from all over. So you can see on the slide here, I've included a picture of the homunculus, which is known as the little man, and it's the map of the brain. And if you look on the Embrace Chi website, there's a free 30-minute yoga nidra practice in which you will go through the homunculus as a way of progressively relaxing the body. So this is a beautiful way to interact with ourselves and give ourselves that freedom from the stress response by systematically unraveling those connections to the stress itself. So homunculus, parietals, let it wash over you if it's too much, but it's fascinating neuroscience. Um, and essentially, right brain is governing left body. I'm looking at the camera. Yes, so we have opposites, right? And we want to integrate those. And that's really what embracing change needs in the body, is integration, a smooth integration. If you think about the symbol, the medical symbol of the two snakes, coming through, they're actually mimicking our chakra system, our nervous system, and this shared relationship between the right side and the left side, and then the perspective sides of the body, if that makes sense. So we want to pay attention to this more when we're going through change, because we do tend to get into a rigid track where we're getting less flexible in change. We're going into bad habits. We're doing all this stuff that isn't necessarily helping. So we want to increase things I'll get into in a second here, things that emphasize those side meridians, the liver, the gallbladder, this in-between part of us governed in the side, that helps us move through change. So the Chinese medicine perspective is to be more of like bamboo than to be like the staunch oak tree. So if the wind blows really heavily, that oak tree is going to snap, but the bamboo ideally is going to bend and flow with the change. And so this whole principle, if we're looking at how the natural elements are present within ourselves, as we see in the Eastern philosophy, then we can see how the qualities of this time of year are really all about flexibility. And if we're not feeling very flexible, we're feeling congested, we're feeling stiff, stuck, foggy, all that stuff, then we're probably looking at something like a liver cleanse, something like a reset to really support yourself in embracing change in the best way and not just coping with change. So I think embracing implies a more active role that you want to take. if you're feeling able. And if not, if now is not the moment, I want you to just focus on the somatics, being really gentle. But if this does incite some little thoughts like, maybe I should take care of my liver, then please do so, because it will help you navigate change in your life anytime, all the time. I do a liver cleanse twice a year, every year, and it does help. It helps you let go, and then it helps you reset, and it helps you come back to something important that you want to have for your life. So generally speaking, the liver channel is coming from your big toe in between your first and second toe, up the inside of your leg through your groin, and then up to the front of the chest just below the breast. Its paired channel is gallbladder, and that's going to be the side channel. So, tops of shoulders, jaw tension, hip tension, all that, side body stuff. Sometimes we release with yawning. I sometimes burp. It's all good. I don't have indigestion. But yeah, the gallbladder, see, it's like a release. You even touch one of these points. Maybe you want to check those for yourself right now and just really kind of, examine how is this meridian feeling. A lot of times especially if we haven't incorporated that orienting, I notice a lot of us can just be very uncomfortable. We're sitting, we say we're present, maybe you don't even notice that you're kind of sitting crazy and didn't even feel it. So this is all about bringing awareness. So feeling into your side body. Okay, let's do a little stretching. Dogs are our wonderful mascots. They just do it so naturally. So there's our mascot for today. Okay, so this is on the computer. So depending on how you can orient yourself to make this accessible. And this is, again, just meant to give you a sprinkling of an idea. If you are seated, you can just come to the edge of your chair. And we're just going to emphasize a forward curl and then this opening curl. So this would be the same motion where you would get chest opening in this cobra pose, Bhujangasana. And so her chest is open, her arms are open, and we're arching through that midsection so that we can start to get some movement around liver and gallbladder. So feel free to do that a few times. Wow, I find sitting at the computer, that one sure helps a lot. So here's another one. I love these pictures with all the muscles. So if you can do this seated, this is good, but nothing extreme here. I just want you to notice that stretching. So even just a little bit from your desk. Oh my goodness, it's so good. So then just taking your deep breath. And again, we're emphasizing the side body. So if I can do this consistently, while I'm going through change, I might have a lot better, easier time with whatever changes are coming up. So it's not that we avoid change with these practices, but we can sure get a lot more gentle and just feel a lot more resilient while we're going through them. This is another great example where we want to stretch to the side and really keep the chest open so that we have all of these meridians and everything breathing and opening on the side body. So I can try that from standing as well. So again, it doesn't have to be this huge, big, hour-long class. Just a few of these practices daily can be very, very helpful and supportive. So I'm not encouraging a long practice. For some of us, that's just not even appropriate, believe it or not. It's too much. So life can be a lot, and we want to just think about maybe mini pauses or 1 or 2 side stretches a day. Make it easy for yourself, but just don't forget about your side body. We want to take a moment here before we shift into the breathing practice that I want to share for today. And just to massage those side meridians, especially the IT band, so your quadricep muscles. To really get in there, those are also mimicking your intestines. So especially if you have intestinal challenges, I want you to consider massaging your quads and the sides of your legs a little bit more, just releasing tension, and also as a way to pay attention to your body. Massaging the sides of the ribs, And again, if you didn't officially do it, I want you to come up to the shoulders, give them a nice squeeze. Good, good. Okay, so just a mini self-massage. And if you're wearing glasses, I invite you to take them off now, please. This is one of the most wonderful, simple, gentle practices you can do as far as a yoga practice. It's known as Nadi Shodhan, and that translates to the brain balancing breath. So remember those hemispheres, that right one coming and governing this way to the left body and then this way to the right body. So if we breathe consciously, we can actually do that regulation ourselves. Very good practice. If you need mental clarity or are struggling with decisions or finding your calm center in life, this is a very good practice. So the mudra is the index and middle finger at the eyebrow center, and then the thumb and the ring finger just rest gently on the upper part of the nostril, just on the top there. And we're not squeezing very hard. It's just a way to close the nostrils as we regulate the breath up and down. So I invite you to practice with me now. Placing the index and middle finger on the eyebrow center. Thumb and ring finger rest gently on the curve of the nostrils. You can keep the pinky extended as a way to connect with your heart. And we're going to start by closing the right nostril. And just inhale, focus the inhale up through the left. Pause in the center. Close the left nostril and exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Pause at the eyebrow center. And exhale through the left. Continue to follow your own comfortable breath here, maintaining the mudra. In through one side, pause at the eyebrow center. And then exhale through the opposite side. To begin this practice, we want to just balance 1-to-1 between the inhale, the pause, and the exhale. So in other words, trying to make those equal. For some people, counting can be helpful, inhaling to a count of 1, 2, 3, 4. Whatever feels comfortable where there is no strain in the breath. Inhaling, pause, and exhaling. And continuing this practice anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. Anytime you need a space to reconnect. If your arm gets tired, you can always support with the opposite hand underneath the elbow. So I'll invite you to take this last round now. The next time you exhale, slowly lower your hands, keeping your eyes closed. And then rubbing the palms together. It's wonderful for the eyes, and the liver opens to the eyes. Palming, getting them nice and warm, and then placing them over your eyes, letting your eyes open into that warm, dark center of your palms. Letting your eyes look around, stretching the muscles of the eyes from side to side. As you open the eyes, going ahead and gazing at this beautiful tree. So during this season, it is just so beautiful and helpful for our organs, for our energy, our chi, our life force, to look at living things. So to spend time in nature. And there's a very simple meditation, you could consider it just a tree meditation. And that is to look at a photo of a tree, or to spend time with the tree, or to be anywhere where they are growing happily, and to just consider yourself as that tree. The same, very same idea. So that we have roots that grow down, we have a strong, healthy trunk. The branches are able to expand, to take in and receive the light, the green color, all of the beauty. Letting your eyes close to feel that, or simply gazing at the tree. This is a wonderful way to ground. Essentially, to feel ungrounded is just to feel a sense of disconnection with your roots. So again, we can revisit the peace protocol or any of the practices today to help with that. Or to simply just find your tree. Have your tree meditation. The trees are wonderful. They have everything that we need, including their oils and aromas that keep our systems healthy, free from any infections or things like that. So just to connect with your tree in any way that feels good. I invite you to do this often in your mind, before bed, when you wake up, or anytime you can, in person. And if your eyes are still closed, I'll invite you to open them now. Of course, pausing the recording anytime you need to. And I just want to thank you for joining this class presentation from Embrace Chi. My name is Erika Hawley, and I'm one of the main teachers for Embrace Chi at this time. And so we invite you to connect, to share any comments, or if this sparked some interest in you and you would like to know more or you would like to practice more, please reach out. We like to design things that help actual people, and so whatever you need support with, we would like to offer that. Thank you for being here today. Have a beautiful day.